All She Wrote for Week 1. I'm Vanessa Richardson, Paul Gallant here, Sean Mapes behind the glass as always. Hope everybody enjoyed their Week 1 NFL weekend. It was a fun one. Paul and I were both in the press box. We're going to get to some of the specifics. Describe your thoughts and your emotions in a couple of words from the tie.
I have deep steel blue balls, Vanessa.
Hello, HR.
Deep steel blue balls. It was on the table, the fire was cooking.
He's wearing plaid today, so I don't know if that's impacting his behavior, but
they were up 20-3, and they didn't win. I know that when it comes to this team, you always should have low expectations until proven otherwise. But it was going so well. They played an immaculate third quarter. And to not lose, but tie.
It felt, yeah. And you're not the only one, by the way, that almost said loss. Rex Burkhead, after the game in the locker room, said, yeah, a tie just didn't make him very happy.
Honestly, it does kind of feel like a loss, just because, we played so well in the first half and, just kind of had chances in the second half and didn't convert and didn't move the ball when we needed to.
It's how I think a lot of guys felt. Everybody said they supported Lovie, Brandon Cooks, but nobody said they were happy about the choice to have it ended a tie.
That's at least good. Look, I mean, it's a specific date. I was kind of happy there was no moment of silence for someone who's been getting a lot of moments of silences on a very specific day.
Now, who could that be?
The Queen, but a tie at the end of the first regular season game of the year on a very specific date. Look, it just felt un-American. You got to go for the W, and you heard Burkhead say it there. Think about all the chances the Colts gave you. I mean, they were trying to give you the game. Matt Ryan fumbled what? 2 snaps?
Matt Ryan fumbled 3 snaps.
3?
Hot Rod kicked out of bounds twice.
It looked like the same kick.
It was really bad.
It was deja vu. Then you also
and missed a field goal.
Rodrigo Blankenship missing a field goal. I don't know how many people have seen the movie Rasputin, where Russians are trying to kill Rasputin over and over again, and he somehow keeps surviving, but he's not even putting up much of a fight. The Texans had so many chances to kill the Colts, and this is one that it's hard to feel good about walking away from, especially now next week you're going to play a Denver Broncos team that we'll see tonight in Monday Night Football on the road. You had an opportunity to beat the Indianapolis Colts. You got your asses kicked by them last year. You were kicking their behinds, and you tie. It feels like a loss to me.
Yeah, understandable. Let's set the scene a little bit before we hear from Lovie. Midfield, 24 seconds left. Texans had the ball, 4th and 3, and he chooses to take the tie instead of going for it and, either trusting his offense to get it done or trusting his defense to stuff it or trusting the fact that Rodrigo Blankenship wasn't making field goals. Was your initial reaction frustration in the press box?
Yeah, I think I was more frustrated with the play before because they handed it off to Rex Burkhead, and I think a lot of people this morning are pretty frustrated with the amount of Rex Burkhead that they used. I think if you were watching the game on TV, that Tiki Barber said, well, they're using Rex Burkhead because they're trying to win, which, okay. Damian Pierce.
By the way, the Tiki, and who is the guy on play-by-play, Tom something?
I'm not sure.
Not rave reviews. We'll leave it at that.
Whatever. What you do need to know is Burkhead did get the ball a lot. There's a part of me that understands it because there was one play where Damian Pierce was supposed to pick up a blitz and he got absolutely clobbered. But Pierce clearly has a lot more sizzled juice to him. And it's 3rd and 1, it's 3rd and 2, whatever it was, is really going to Rex Burkhead.
He was running back 1.
Don't say that.
No, he was.
I know, but don't say that.
He was. I mean, there was no doubt that when we thought it would be Damian Pierce, that it was Rex Burkhead. All right, let's hear from head coach Lovie Smith. This is not his first or second rodeo as a NFL head coach. It's his 3rd. So he made the experienced decision to go for the tie, and here's why.
On the 3rd down play, before the 4th down play, we had, the plan wasn't to lose, of course, yards on that. And I made a decision on 4th and 3. There's a lot of football left to go in the season. It's kind of simple as that. And I feel like a tie was better than a potential loss. Defensively, we weren't really stopping them off a lot there at the end.
Part of that, a tie was better than a loss. Well, do you think you're going to beat them the next time you play them, given the way that the Colts finally started moving the football in the 4th quarter? I got to say, I don't. I also don't feel very great about how the Texans would do against the Colts next time around. just given the way that Davis Mills looked. But, okay, that's a long ways away. This is what's very frustrating about having a defensive-minded head coach.
Yeah, you're not a fan.
Well, I mean, Vanessa, you mentioned that this is his third job, and it's not to say he's been bad at his job. I'm just saying in today's NFL, where you see Brian Daboll, the new head coach of the New York Giants, going for 2 against the Tennessee Titans and converting it, a Giants team that's been wretched for years, Lovie Smith, with a chance to maybe help turn the page here in Houston, he decides to punt it there. And I get the logic with the way that the Colts were moving the football. I do. In fact, that's not the decision that bothers me more. What bothers me more is where this game changed. Vanessa, the Texans had the Colts on the ropes when they were up 20-3 early in the fourth quarter. And when they're at, I believe, Indianapolis's, 36, 35-yard line, instead of going for a field goal with Kaimi Fairbairn, they chose to take a delay of game, and then they punted.
So that, to you, is where things changed? Because to me, the play before the ultimate decision where Grover Stewart had such a mismatch with Justin Britt, and Justin Britt half the game looked like a disaster, by the way. This is supposed to be somebody that's obviously protecting the QB. That was very problematic to me as well.
It was, no doubt about it. Do we like Kaimi Fairbairn as a kicker? Serious question. Do we trust Kaimi Fairbairn as a fan watching him out there? Because the last time I was at NRG Stadium, which was last year when I came back and I surprised everyone at the Seahawks game. Yes, that is how we met, actually. Kaimi Fairbairn hit a 61-yard field goal in that game. Jeremy Branham put this out yesterday. Kaimi Fairbairn is 18 of 28 in his career on field goals of 50-plus yards. This was, a 53, 54-yard field goal attempt? They chose to take a delay of game and punt. You're not playing at Soldier Field, which looked like a World War I battlefield.
For the Bears.
Right.
Bad for the 49ers. Do we have Lovie on that decision?
We do.
I think we have Lovie on that decision.
Cody Stutes asked Lovie about the decision to punt there instead of kick the field goal.
Well, it was, like you said, roughly in its range. Didn't feel like that was it at the time. Felt like, backing them up, playing defense was our best option then.
You're up 17-3. It's the NFL. You're a defensive-minded head coach. These are the things you do. That's what bothers me about that specific decision, and combine that with the decision to not go for it at the end when you are the Texans and they are the AFC South frontrunners, the Colts. These are the things that happens when you have a guy that says, I would rather do the safe thing than do the aggressive thing. And generally, the defensive coaches are going to be that way, where the offensive coaches are going to be the other way.
I thought the additions of O.J. Howard and Jerry Hughes are promising.
I got to say, they were both
great. Not only from the specific, Jerry and O.J. were great. I do think it says something about Nick's ability to eye talent. And one thing that you had tweeted out that I thought was great, it's not that why did the Bills release O.J. Howard?
Bills are really
the
good.
Bills have a deep, stacked roster. To me, what's promising is that Nick Caserio is now showing a record of being able to identify guys that it might not be working out for them in their particular situation and saying, I think that it will work out for them here, and I think we can get them for a fair price. To me, that was a promising part of yesterday's game. O.J. Howard, of course, 2 touchdowns. Jerry Hughes, some monster plays.
Howard said after the game in the locker room that Pep Hamilton had told him, because they're going up against Gus Bradley's defense, and Gus Bradley has been running a cover 3 into the ground for the last couple of years. I don't think he's very skilled as a defensive coordinator anymore. When he was in Seattle, that's a little bit of a different story. He said that, we're going to be open up the seam every single play. And, I mean, both those touchdowns. Beautiful balls by Davis Mills up the seam. What did you think about Davis Mills in this game?
I thought that there was some progress.
Yeah, that's what we're telling ourselves if we're being optimistic.
Trying to be optimistic. I really liked the way that the defense looked, but Justin Britt and Davis Mills specifically, those two concern me. Those are 2 very important positions on the team. I don't have to tell you that.
I would agree with you there. I know Laramie Tunsil's getting a lot of guff, too, for the play where Davis Mills got sacked, fumbled, and helped Indianapolis after, they kicked a field goal, get the ball back, and make it a 1-score game really quickly. That was very frustrating. But with Mills, he seemed to get, I think, more panicky as the game went along.
Oh, the fourth quarter, he looked so anxious.
Because in the third, he had a stretch where he was hitting pass after pass after pass. My issue with Mills is the happy feet that he showed, especially there was one throw that he had on the last drive, and I was like, it looked like somebody that was about to, am I allowed to say it? You know, when you feel like things are about to start going. You know, like a
drizzles.
Drizzles. Okay. Thank you, Vanessa. I forgot that you came up with that a couple of weeks ago. He looked like he had the drizzles on that play, and there are a lot of throws that he made to the sideline where he's just sailing the ball up into the top, into like the first row of the stands. That to me is something that a guy with an arm like that can't be that way. He's not particularly mobile. If he's going to be throwing to the sidelines, he's got to be accurate. And there were a couple of times where I think he was sailing it on purpose because he wanted to avoid an interception. But there were some others where I'm like, oh, man, what's going on? And one pass that he had in particular to the left side of the field where a Colts player almost intercepted it and should have intercepted it, where he was just woefully off. I'm not feeling good about Davis Mills in my first Davis Mills experience.
It is going to be his first full year. And he didn't play a lot of senior year of college. Don't forget that. And then he didn't start all of last year. Tyrod Taylor did. So we've said this before and we'll say it again. Davis Mills, the determination is going to have to be made this year, whether they're riding with him or not as their starting quarterback. I thought we saw some good things. How about Jeff Driscoll Cat?
The Driscoll Cat is hilarious, and at the very least, it provided some much-needed comedic relief. And by the way, it worked. How about that? That was cool.
Work both times, by the way.
It worked both times.